Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, good morning. Um, yeah. Earlier this week, I know I'm just going to jump right in. Earlier this week, I saw a post. But so good to see you, girl. So good to see you. And who else is here? Sorry, I'm going to diverge over here. Who else have we got? Oh my goodness. Cindy King. She's out of town visiting her kids. Cindy, you have a great weekend. You deserve it. Diane is here. Letty, good morning, Letty. Janice, good morning. Diane, did I say Diane? I did, Diane. Diane, good morning twice. Oh, let's see. Doug's in London, you guys. What time is it there, Doug? You gotta tell us, are you staying up late for this? And where'd she go? Capricia? Joanne? Mashid? She's been out, you know. Oh, that is so good to hear. Thank you. Mashid's telling us that her mom is feeling better. She's back home now. That is good. Barb's here. Good morning, Barb. Good morning, Barb. Barb, thank you for the link on blending with flames. That might just be a coffee and conversation. Doug said it's about, oh, Letty says she's guessing it's about 8 p.m. We'll find out, won't we? Jesse, good morning. Gosh, we have a full house this morning. Good morning, everyone. Oh, so going back now. Earlier this week, there was a post. Somebody, 4 p.m. in the UK. Not bad, Letty. You're pretty good at this. There was a post. Somebody was interested in printing on the side of a hat a very small, very detailed. Actually, they were looking to embroider it. They were looking to get it digitized, but it was so much detail, it wouldn't work. Or wait, no, it was kind of a. That's what it was. It was a gradient change, color changing from like a light gold to a dark gold with a wave in it. Um, and my thought at the time was, yeah, if you get $30,000, you can get a color reel. That'll do it. It dyes the thread before it stitches. But I don't know about you, but yes, Letty, that's exactly it. They wanted to stitch it, but there was too much detail. Ooh. Um, so anyways, I had suggested uh, sublimating it, print sublimating. What you do is you digitize, or I'm sorry, you embroider just a white patch, and then you use sublimation to print over the top of it. Um, for those of you that don't know, sublimation uses an ink that at temperature will change from a solid to a gas. That gas permeates. Permeates. That gas is absorbed by the fibers in the thread, which in turn becomes a permanent coloring of the thread. Okay? Permanent meaning you can wash it and it's not going to wash out. It's permanent. So he asked how to do this, and I suggested that I would be here today to show you how to do this. Okay, so let's start with our, where'd it go? Here it is. Um, our detailed image. Would you say this is a bit, um, would you say this is a bit detailed for a 4-inch round patch? Not even a patched. How about just a direct left chest placement? There's a lot of detail in there. There's a lot of shading. Those stars are itty bitty, but uh, they're very, just a smidge. Yeah, Letty, just a smidge. But look, the stars are very detailed. The roping, the shading, the shadowing. So this is like not impossible, but you would not be able to get all the same detail in embroidery with this. So what to do? Sublimation. And sublimation is not like DTF. It's not an ink product that's going to lay on top. It's actually going to get absorbed by the fibers and become permanent. All right. So, what do? Well, we have our image. We're going to measure across our image to find out what size it is. Then we're going to come into our digitizing, and we're just going to make a simple resize of the image. In this case, it is, what is this? It's almost a 3.5-inch round. Now, quick note, if you're doing sublimation, just like with printing, if we make this smaller, okay, now it's a 2-inch round. Our printing is going to still maintain that detail. That's just the nature of print. So once we've stitched out, whether it be in a patch or on our garment, we have stitched out our round. We are then going to go to our printer, our sublimation printer, and we're going to print out whatever our need is, whatever quantity we need. All right. Now, with sublimation, remember to mirror your printout. And you need to mirror it so that when it prints, see, this will be the back side of the print. This is the side that's going to lay against the stitching so that the other side will read correctly. All right, very important. Remember to mirror your print. Once you have your print mirrored and you have it printed, now you do need to use a printer, I almost said dot matrix. That's like 100 years old. Um, Once you have printed using your inkjet printer, which contains sublimation ink, very important, and you're using sublimation paper, again, very important. And no, you cannot just add sublimation ink to your regular printer. You're going to want to create your own sublimation printer or buy one ready for sublimation. Letty, that's funny. Going back to the mirroring, Letty says that unless you want it to only read correctly when you're standing in front of the mirror. Yeah. Okay, so back to our printer. You have to have a printer that has been set up for sublimation. Regular ink will not work properly. It does not, with heat, become gaseous and dye the fibers. So sublimation printer with sublimation ink using sublimation paper. Print out your set of images. Once you have that done, you're going to cut out what you want. See how it's printed backwards? That's the way to go. Now, you have to imagine that this is on the shirt front. Um, Obviously, I wasn't going to throw a whole shirt in there. Not for this. It's kind of hard to show you the whole shirt. But the other thing you need to determine, especially if you're working on a shirt, you need to find your center point. All right? You need to find your center point. You also need to find the center point of your print. Of course, this is off a little bit. I'm just doing this by eye. So that when you put the two together, you can align them properly. You don't want to just slap your print on uh, your your embroidery and have it be sideways or upside down. You want to make sure that you are aligning it so that it is placed exactly the way you want it. Because once it's on there, it's permanent. Have I said that before? It's permanent. So the next thing you have to do is you have to secure it in place. You need to use a heat-resistant tape, and you need to seal it all the way around. All the way around. You want to keep air from seeping in underneath, okay? If there's any air in here, that's going to be a light spot or a no print spot, which is not, just like bad embroidery, that's going to make a bad printout. Now, while we're here talking about this heat-resistant tape, I want to strongly suggest that you do not use that yellow gold heat-resistant tape. In my limited sublimation experience, the yellow gold tape actually bleeds gold onto fabric. And you don't want that. I use the blue. Let's see if I have any. Oh, yeah, I have this. This is the stuff I'm talking about that I don't want to suggest. This is that yellow gold tape. And I do not have, no, because I moved it all out into the workroom. Um, do not use the yellow gold. Use a clear or the blue heat resistant tape. And you're going to tape all the way around, all the edges. Make sure that you smooth this out as flat as possible from center out. Don't forget to make sure that it's turned and placed correctly, and put tape around all the edges. All right. Once you have that, you're going to press this. You need heavy pressure, 385 degrees is what I set at, for 50 seconds. Heavy pressure, 385 degrees. We have to get this ink hot enough to where it vaporizes for 50 seconds. Gives that ink time to vaporize and settle back into the fabric, into the fibers. Very important that you give it time to do this. Now, the one thing I didn't do is I didn't take a picture after I had pressed. If you look at it after you have pressed, it will look like all the ink has shown through on the back side of your paper. That gives you a good indication that you have a good pressing, a good transfer of ink. Um, so kind of watch that. Before you tear this apart to see how good it looks, you want to make sure that you have, like I said, a good indication that you have a good press, because there's no putting it back. Once you take it off, there's no putting it back. You can take away a little piece, just a little edge here, and peek. And if that little edge isn't right, put it all back again, and go back to the press. But be aware that it may shadow or shift. So you want to be sure to get the best press you can the first time through. Now, after you press, I don't want you to tear this off right away. And the reason being is, remember, we have turned our ink into a gas. And whether we believe it or not, that gas, most of it is in our fabric now, but there is still gas floating around here that hasn't settled in yet. So we don't want to remove our tape and our transfer until it is cooled. And once we do that, once we remove the transfer, this is what we have. Looking good. Of course, I'm taking this picture at an angle. Here, let's bring this back. Doesn't that look good? Yeah. All the detail is there. The stars, all the shading, the shadows, the different colorations to give it the depth. It's all there. And remember, I said you can shrink your print to as small as you want or as large as you want. And yeah, it does look good, doesn't it, Jessie? Almost makes me wish I had done this on a shirt. Now, let's back up a little bit. The one thing that I failed to mention, if you're going to do sublimation, using your embroidery thread is good as long as it's the polyester thread. The reason that polyester absorbs the ink, absorbs the gas. If you're using rayon thread, you will not get the same results, and it may not last. My point exactly, Letty. A lot cheaper than a color reel. I don't know if you haven't heard of it yet. Color reel is an attachment that goes on top of your embroidery machine, and it has ink. It has ink tanks, different color inks, and it runs white thread. What happens is, through the digitizing, and it's a specialized digitizing, it tells the color reel what color to dye the thread as the thread is being pulled through the system, so that by the time it gets to your needle and is punching, it is punching whatever color has been dyed at that point. It looks great, but it's $30,000 and then some. Plus there is, you thought there was a learning curve with learning your machine. This color reel is so much more because it requires a specialized process in digitizing. In fact, and I'm not sure of this, there might even be specialized software to make this happen. I had no desire to spend $30,000 on an attachment for my embroidery machine. I can see why bigger companies might want to do this, bigger companies that have a larger budget. Oh, Letty, good point. That color reel needs to be in a humidity controlled room. If your air is too dry or too wet, it's going to dictate how the ink is going to dye into your threads. And the cost of supplies. The ink is very pricey. You can use your standard cone of thread, your polyester thread, but you have to buy the ink. Well, first you have to buy the equipment, have to buy the ink, possibly specialized software, the whole learning curve. Honestly, for us little guys, this sublimation worked really good. Very, very happy with the sublimation. Using an applique technique, we can easily make this into a patch. Let me show you. So we started out with, I guess I need to show you. We started out with our 3.5-inch circle, right? Now, we want to convert that circle. We want to make it a running stitch for placement. This is a placement stitch. We're going to hoop our badge master or our plastic stabilizer, something that's going to make it easy to pop the patch out so that you've got a nice clean edge. Then we're going to duplicate that line. We're going to change its color. We're going to change. Now, whatever color you're making your border, that's the color you're going to stitch with. The color changes are so that you have to stop the machine at that point. So we stitch the white, and then we're going to stop and lay in our patch. Then we're going to tack it down. We're going to tack it in place. Once it's tacked in place, and let's make it red, we can then add, and I like a nice 4mm border. We can then add our border. So what we're doing is we're creating this patch using an applique technique. We have our placement stitch, our tack down stitch, and then our border. Now, of course, if you want to get fancy, you can do a motif marrow stitch. Let me blow this up. Just a faux marrow stitch. Again, another piece of equipment would be a marrow machine. And again, that takes, it's got a big, strong learning curve. This stitch looks really good. And it gives a nice look to your patch. So, any thoughts, questions? Oh, what if you don't have a sublimation printer? I happen to know somebody who does sublimation printing for others. Let me go see if I can't find her website and bring it down for you. There she is. Letty, you know this name. The Sassy Subber. Now, to find that, I Googled the Sassy Subber because that's what I knew. And then, because other things popped up, I added the word sublimation. And then it came up, the Sassy Subber. And look, she sells blanks, she sells stickers, just this is all sublimation work that she does. And you can order customized pieces. If you do not have a sublimation printer, yeah, Nikki is terrific, isn't she? She is wonderful. If you do not have a sublimation printer, find somebody who does and outsource the work. Um, Now, if you think this is something you're going to do a lot of, my little Epson SF, what is that printer? Hold on. I've had it for so long, and of course, it's not there. Um, it was only about $500. Came with my first set of inks. Uh, I've had it for about 2 years now. I do not sublimate every day. Um, it requires minimal maintenance. Inks generally about the same that you would spend for a regular household printer, office printer. So if it's something that you think you might benefit from. Exactly. Letty says she has an Epson Eco Tank also. SF 170. Let's see. Images. Yep. This is the printer I have. Where'd you guys go? Don't need a 20% off coupon. I lost you guys. Are you still there somewhere? Oh, please tell me I didn't lose you. I'm scrambling. Oh my God. Did I knock myself off? I think I knocked myself off. Where am I? Where am I? I'm hoping that all of my babbling here, am I still here? Oh my God. I can't believe I did this. Are you still here? I can't find you. I went to pull up. I went to pull up the printer. Oh my God, there you are. Scared myself half to death. All right, we don't need this one anymore. As I was saying, oh my, heart palpitating here. This is the printer I have. It is an SCF 170, Epson Sure Color 170. And if you Google for it, you'll find that the standard price is about $399. So about $400. Oh gosh, people, scared myself to death. Yeah, the ET 15,000, I have that. That's my household printer. That one is nice because it will print um, 11, 11 inches by 17. This little printer is your standard 8.5 by 11, which is fine for what I do. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Yeah, EcoTank. Good point, Letty. If you are buying a printer for sublimation, never add the inks that are provided. You can take an Epson printer and you can, and EcoTank is wonderful for this. You can buy a standard off the shelf printer. Could be, much cheaper. Let's see, Epson. Here, Best Buy has a printer. $300, $250. But do not use the ink that they send with it. You can buy Epson sublimation ink, and there are other inks out there that are sublimation ink. Oh, thank you, Barb. Yeah, I lost you guys for a while. Oh, Letty says she saw it on sale recently at Office Max. If you're looking for a printer, this might be the time to buy. Thank you. Kingsbury. Thank you, Gail. Still here. Did you see? I panicked, didn't I? I panicked. I panicked. You guys all got to see me racing around trying to find where I was. Okay. So, and sublimation, now the only thing that I have learned with regard to my sublimation printer, remember I said I don't use it very often. In fact, to do this project, it took me about 4 hours. So why did it take me 4 hours? Because I had not used my printer in a while, and the inks that were in the tube to the print head clogged up. Yeah, and that's my fault. So I had to run cleanings after cleanings and prints after prints, and eventually it cleared itself out. Now, just an FYI for those of you who do not use your sublimation printer very often, run a color press sheet, a color print sheet, using all 4 tanks once a week. That should take care of it. All right, so I think that's it. I think that's what we have today. Um, what do you think? Any questions? Any thoughts? Any thoughts for next week? I always try to come up with something. I always try to come up with something that I come across in post and online, something, just questions that if one person has that question, I'm sure there's at least a dozen others that, if they don't have that question now, may have that question sometime in the future. So, alrighty then. You all have a great, wonderful weekend. Can you believe it's already the middle of July? July. I'm not talking about weather. I'm talking about more than half the year's gone already. What did we do? What have we accomplished? Have we accomplished? I know that I've gotten a couple of things done. All right. I'm going to say goodbye now. I'm going to go down here, scroll down here to my end my end piece and say goodbye. You all have a great weekend. We'll see you all next week.
Fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quicktostitch.com for coffee and conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.